Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are here, you are clearly very interested in Snif's latest collection, the Pancake collection. But before we get into that, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss my next video. Snif has clearly been in the lab because we are just in March and we have so many new products from them. The Valentine's Day candle, Sweet Ash EDP, Snif Me, Feel the Ways candle, and word on the street that there's another collaboration with Alex L coming. You didn't hear it from me though. So body mist are a new category from Snif. This is the first time they are releasing body mist and they are releasing them in 3 different fragrances: Hazel Split, Berry Styles, and Extra Whip. And I just have to say, I love the way they named these. Like, whoever did the copy did a great job. There has been this epidemic of body mist costing an arm, a leg, and your firstborn child. But these are actually reasonably priced. The 2.5 ounce bottle which I have here is $22 and the bigger size bottle, which is 8 ounces, is $34. And honestly, that is as much as I'm willing to pay for a body mist. Because why are brands charging $40-50 for a body mist? Hazel Split is such a decadent chocolate fragrance that doesn't lean synthetic or plasticky. A lot of chocolate fragrances get a bad rep. People say they smell cheap because they smell like plastic, but this does not smell plasticky in any way. This has notes of cacao, hazelnut, banana, coconut, and musk. And as someone that is very sensitive to coconut in perfumes, I honestly don't get a lot of coconut in this. So in the opening of this fragrance, you get a blast of like a dry cacao powder. And you know how cacao powder isn't very sweet? Exactly that. And then as it starts to dry down, it softens into a hazelnut kind of fragrance. So you start to get the sweetness from the hazelnut, as well as the stickiness that comes when you're spreading like a Nutella spread on your bread. I love how fragrances are able to capture texture, because what do you mean this smells sticky, this smells sparkly, this smells crunchy? Like, that's so cool. I know a lot of people struggle with bananas in a lot of things. Bananas in smoothies overwhelm the other fruits and all you can really taste or smell is the banana. Likewise in perfumes, some people complain that bananas in perfumes ruin everything else. But I would say that the banana here is a very balanced banana and it goes really well with the hazelnut and like the chocolatey vibe. The banana here isn't like a bubblegummy, Laffy Taffy kind of banana, but at the same time, it's not a green, underripe banana either. The way the banana is done here, it just adds a little bit of creaminess to the fragrance. And I feel like the addition of coconut here really helps level out both notes, because we all know that banana and coconut in fragrances can be very overwhelming. This is really good. I like this a lot more than I expected to like this, but honestly, I'm not sure if I want to walk around smelling like this. I feel like Berry Styles is the body mist that is most likely to be overlooked in this collection, but honestly, it's my favorite and it's very good. This has notes of blueberry, raspberry, lime, blue freesia. Like, it's such a vibe. And you know how freesia adds this airy, fresh floral vibe? Exactly that. Don't be scared of the lime notes. The lime note here doesn't smell like Pledge. It also isn't a very strong lime note. The lime note here just adds a little bit of tang to the fragrance. The blueberry and raspberry are front and center, but they don't smell juicy and in your face. These honestly smell like blueberries and raspberries that are like covered in cold whipped cream. This is so good. If you're someone that enjoys fruity fragrances, fruity florals, and you're looking for something that is fruity, floral, but a little bit fresh, I cannot recommend this enough. Out of all the fragrances in this collection, including hot cakes, Berry Styles is the one that I am most likely to wear regularly. This is very juicy, very fruity, very girly. This would make a great gym fragrance when you're trying to go to the gym but still give up very feminine vibes. And I know that very juicy body mist or even perfumes can tend to smell juvenile, but there's nothing juvenile about this. I feel like the addition of the creamy woods in the background adds this depth and richness to the fragrance that stops it from falling flat and just being another fruity fragrance. Yeah, Berry Styles is really good. I know the girlies have been begging for a blueberry fragrance and this is a perfectly executed blueberry fragrance. I feel like everyone was most excited for Extra Whip in this collection, and honestly, this one was a lot of a letdown, because if I didn't know I was supposed to be smelling whipped cream, the whipped cream smell isn't very strong. Out of the other 3 body mists in this collection, Extra Whip is the lightest. And when I say lightest, I mean lightest, like it's barely even there. When I know that I'm supposed to be smelling whipped cream, I can get the whipped cream vibes, but this is not a thick, heavy, rich whipped cream. This is like a non-fat, no sugar kind of whipped cream. It's very light and it's very airy. It doesn't give that very thick, fluffy vibe. Something that is very cool about Extra Whip, and I have to hand it to them, is that this has notes of cold aldehydes. And it's very interesting because it makes the fragrance come off as like cold whipped cream. Like when I smell this, it has a cold vibe to it. So yeah, this has notes of cold aldehydes, whipped cream, vanilla, fluffy musk. Everything about this is truly giving light. So yeah, if you're buying Extra Whip expecting a thick, rich, decadent whipped cream, I think you're going to be disappointed. That is it for the body mist. If I had to rank them in terms of my favorite is Berry Styles, then Hazel Split, and finally Extra Whip. And I feel like in terms of strength and projection, it's the same ranking. But then again, they are body mist. They are not supposed to last hours. They're not supposed to fill up a room. They are not supposed to project. So yeah, these are pretty decent. Now, Hot Cakes, the one that everyone is very excited about. Honestly, I'm surprised that Snif released this now, like in the spring. I feel like this would have been more appropriate for the winter, fall time. Personally, I don't really believe in wearing fragrances in seasons. If there's air conditioning, I'm going to be wearing my heavy hitters. One of my favorite things about Snif, even before they became more accessible and available at stores like Ulta, is their trial program. Whenever you buy a full-size bottle from Snif, your order will always come with a little sample, so you can try your sample without opening the full-size bottle. And then if you don't like the perfume, you can keep the sample and then return the full-size bottle and get your money back. If you aren't familiar with Snif, their perfumes are actually EDT concentration. This is a 30ml bottle and it costs $65. A lot of people don't realize that Snif fragrances are EDTs, and that tells you all you need to know in terms of longevity and performance. Now, I'm not saying that Snif fragrances are beast mode fill up a room, but they get the job done. This has notes of maple syrup, melted butter, buttermilk pancake accord, berry compote, and sugared musk. I don't get a lot of the berry compote, but when I tell you that this literally dries down to the richest, fluffiest buttermilk pancakes, I am not exaggerating. I know a lot of people were very excited, but also kind of nervous when Hot Cakes released, because last year when Vanilla Vice came out, the marketing and the perfume, there was a disconnect somewhere. But this actually smells exactly as it was marketed. I don't get a lot of the berry compote here, but in the opening of this fragrance, I definitely get the melted butter and maple syrup. But they complement each other so well that it honestly smells like salted maple syrup. Personally, I prefer butter on my pancakes, but the maple syrup here isn't super sticky or so overwhelming and like cloyingly sweet. It is like perfectly balanced, and I feel like the saltiness definitely stops it from being too sweet and too in your face. But don't get it twisted. If you are not a gourmand person, this is not the fragrance for you. I mean, the notes are literally melted butter, maple syrup, and pancakes. As it dries down, you definitely start to get like the fluffy buttermilk, like IHOP pancakes kind of vibe. I don't know how they did that, but 10 out of 10, no notes. And then finally, in the background, there's a sugared musk. And the sugared musk here comes off as when you have pancakes and you have that like powdered sugar that they put on the top. So that powdered sugar isn't like deliciously sweet, but it adds a little bit of sweetness to the fragrance. And I feel like them adding the sugared musk here definitely makes this fragrance more wearable. So when it dries down like a couple of hours later, you're not walking around smelling like fresh pancakes off the griddle. You're smelling more like sugared musk with a little hint of like the pancake vibe. And that is why I think that this fragrance is super wearable, not only for in the fall, but a little bit now even in the spring. If you have ever dreamt of smelling like fresh pancakes off the griddle with maple syrup and salted butter, Snif nailed it. Hot Cakes is the fragrance for you. If you decide to shop the Pancakes collection, Chinaya 10 will always save you money on snif.com. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.